babe.
And I feel like even in our
All right. Well, we're actually returning this van today, so we wanted to do a quick run through of where we've been living, about 50-50, maybe 40-60 on this trip for 3 weeks. We stayed in the van, and then we would get a hotel room that has better Wi-Fi, as Donna was working for, or an Airbnb, as Donna was working for a portion of this trip.
This isn't even original. This isn't even requirements for price gap. This is the
American hours was 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. here, so that was interesting and had its own challenges. But let's go through what we got. This is the ROADSURFER edition Roadhouse. These are pretty reasonable, very easy to pick up. They make it as simple as possible. And relative to a rental car, it's competitive. It has 2 beds, but we did not use the bottom one because although it came with a bike rack on the back, we didn't trust having the bikes outside at night. We had them out there the first night, and I woke up every 30 minutes panicking, looking out the wrong window, not seeing the bikes, freaking out that they were stolen. It just, we weren't comfortable with it, moving locations so much, so we moved them inside. Permanently folded up that bed, and then we slept in the rooftop tent. These rooftop tents could not be easier. Once you do it once, it's done. Watch, I'll mess it up on the last day right before we return it. Here, back up and show it on the outside. There's quite a bit of room up here. They've got some convenient lights, and it's pretty spacious. I was able to do a little bit of yoga up here, but, which Donna loves, the mattress is a little bit thinner. We'll say, what, 3 inches?
I think that one's 2.
Okay, 2 inches.
The nice one was 3 inches.
The nice one was...
That we didn't use.
The nice one that we used one single time was about 4 inches. But we made it work, and I don't know, I saw a smile on her face a few times camping, which was, I didn't expect. And we actually slept really well when the weather was cool. When it was hot, that was a totally different story. That was no fun. But yeah, this is it. It's super simple. It has plumbing, a full bathroom, which you can put a shower curtain up here, and this is your little shower stall.
Toilet, if you will.
Toilet. And that definitely takes up a ton of room. Like, we have a couple friends who have Sprinters, and without this stovetop, which is very clean, and sink and full-size college refrigerator, it takes up a ton of space, so you can barely move in here. But again, we only used it to sleep and drive and transport our stuff. And obviously it comes with a ladder like this that comes right down in the middle, and then basically all you can do at night is use the bathroom and sleep up top. But this definitely was awesome to have. So let's just get one look at it, and then let's pack it up and return it. You know you're gonna miss it.
So much.
So much, yeah. And although this looks pretty big, and it is big, the fact that the tires are out at the front make it super easy to turn and drive even on narrow Italian roads. So we were pretty happy with it. So it also came with a 2 bike rack, which was actually pretty functional, and the bikes did not stick out to the side. These are the things on Europe you have to have at your outermost boundary. But we just didn't end up using it because luckily we only had 2 people and not a ton of stuff, so we kind of stuck the bikes in like this and never really had to worry too much about it. But they also come with a full cooking kit, which we are reassembling right now. And the only other thing that we didn't mention was this sunsetter, which actually comes out pretty far, but due to user error, my user error, we didn't think it worked until about halfway through.
We did not think it worked.
You see that face? Look at all that attitude. That's why I love her. All right, that's it. We are reluctantly returning this. Let me say that I'm reluctantly returning this today. And we're flying back out of Rome, and we can't wait to be home.
Well, that's not true either.
So we are about 30K from returning this van outside of Rome, and we noticed a few things we just wanted to record. Primarily the beautiful weather. We woke up and it was completely misty this morning, and the sun just poked through, and we realized we have not had a single day of rain this entire trip. Super grateful for that. I know Donna has had a trip prior to this where it rained almost every single day she was here. Having bikes, that was great. Obviously, also very grateful that we could be here for over 3 weeks. Have her to be able to work remotely for a week. We did notice a few things about the diet in Italy and the food.
Food quality.
The food quality, and obviously everyone knows Italian food is amazing. The preparation and the what do you want to say, recipes or meals are fantastic, but the food that they're actually working with is a much higher grade than I think what we're used to in the US. I survive on protein shakes with frozen fruit and then whatever you will make for dinner at home. And then I'm basically a garbage disposal for anything else in between all of that. And it's terrible, and you don't feel great. Here, the food, I notice I feel like I'm full quicker. I don't need to eat as much despite potentially riding all day as we have for this trip. There's a lot of ingredients that we notice that are missing in grocery store foods that are in everything in the US. What else can you think of?
The care and loving that goes into the cooking here is much more noticeable. And like you said, you don't have to eat as much because you get full from the real ingredients.
You feel a little better.
I do feel much better. Before we left, I was having a very bad stomach flare-up and causing a lot of pain and bloating, and within a day and a half of being here, it was gone. Less gas in the stomach, less bloating, not restricting what foods I'm eating, enjoying, the foods that come from the land here, and just feeling so much better.
Another big thing we noticed prior to coming was a lot of warnings about driving in Italy and in Europe, outside of Rome, pretty much anywhere. People warning us, drivers are crazy, the roads are narrow. This vehicle is not a small vehicle. It's a Sprinter van, and it's not the smallest. It has a rooftop tent, and it has a sunsetter on the side. And we had absolutely no issues anywhere. Not even the ZTLs they talk about in cities. They're very easy to notice. Even signs in Italian, you can kind of tell what they're trying to say. It helps to have a navigator and a map open. But just don't stress about it. It's not that difficult. Yes, it's just not that difficult to figure it out. And if you are going to rent a van, these are great. They're so easy to turn, navigate even on tight streets. The front just drops off right in front of the windshield.
We rented from ROADSURFER.
ROADSURFER Roadhouse, and it was great.
It's up to the organizer, actually.
So just wanted to quickly walk through this while we have it empty, because you can now see the second bed. There's supposed to be a wall here, but tons of room. The second bed folds down, and you can sleep two here, but it's not necessarily super comfortable, which is why we ended up using the upstairs one. But you can see there's tons of cupboards all over the place. There's 1, 2, 3. There's a slide out here which you can actually hang clothes on a hanger. You know, a utensil drawer, food drawers, and obviously the refrigerator. But yeah, super easy to drive these things. The one thing we did not do was record how loud it is driving on a bumpy road. That we almost returned the van the second day because I couldn't make it more than 40 minutes without thinking earplugs would be helpful, and just a splitting headache. We actually silenced a lot of this window. Actually, I should probably take my socks off. This, just to quiet it down. But that was literally the only issue that we had with the whole van. That and the heat, when we didn't park it in the shade, it was difficult to sleep because there's no air conditioning at night. The front of it runs like a regular vehicle with air conditioning only when the engine's running, and the back actually has heat but not air conditioning that runs off of propane, which is in the way back, which is the same tank that's used to heat the water tank so that you can have a hot shower. It takes about 15-20 minutes to warm up, but works fine once you figure it out. Key thing is once you figure it out, they have a tutorial which is extremely helpful, but you need to make sure that wherever you're staying and need to see it, you have Wi-Fi, because you could watch it 3 times in advance and there's a few little details that are difficult. So that's it. So we just showed up at ROADSURFER to return it, and I just wanted to show you guys the other options they have. They've got the VW vans. This guy's amazing, by the way. They have smaller VW vans, the Roadhouses that we rented, this couple cottage, which I think has another bed on top of the driver. Just a few different models, but all super clean and very easy to deal with. We even left our bike bags here. I don't know if that's a normal thing, but for us it was extremely helpful, because if we had to tote those around with us, we may have returned the van right away, because we already didn't have a lot of room when we made the decision to keep the bikes inside 24 hours a day. But yeah, this is it. We couldn't speak more highly of ROADSURFER. They helped us with everything, other than just having a phone number to reach. They had an email that was responsive, and we almost did change it mid-trip to a smaller vehicle, and they handled it all pretty well. So can't say enough about this. So say goodbye to ROADSURFER.